For the past, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 videos now, not counting that one, I have done Filipino horror movies because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm Filipino and this is my way of celebrating what the Philippines has to offer despite making fun of it sometimes. But I think I need a break. Just a small one, don't worry, we will go back to Filipino horror movies soon, but much like I said to Andy Tanggonan, I plan to cover horror movies from Southeast Asia that people barely talk about anymore. So prompted by no other reason whatsoever, let's start with a movie that traumatized me when I was a little kid and figure out why the hell this thing scared me so much. The movie begins with a child as she wakes up in a dilapidated room. She finds herself tied up, and when she turns her head, she sees another child beside her dead with no eyes. Okay, well, that didn't take long. I think I know why I'm traumatized now. She suddenly hears footsteps outside the door and she quickly scrambles into a nearby closet. The door opens and in walks this crazy woman whose hair is falling out in clumps and has a broken foot, screaming for the little girl. The woman limps towards the closet, but just as she's about to open it, the kid bursts through the doors and tackles her. The kid manages to run away, but is stopped by a locked door. The woman catches up to her, swinging a knife at her, but the girl dodges. She tries escaping through a hole in the wall, but the woman catches up to her again. Okay, the way she walks is actually fucked. Looking a lot like my sleep paralysis demon at 12 a.m. The girl wakes up again, but this time she's tied to a chair. When she turns her head, she sees the woman calmly brushing the fucking 3 strands of hair she has left. She tells the girl to stop crying and behave like the other kids as the girl sees more children whose eyes have been gouged out and the dead kid from earlier propped up next to her. Okay, now I'm just wondering why and how I watched this as a kid. A little while later, some villagers storm the house looking for the woman, and here we learn that her name is Chaba. Is it just me, or have I been calling her Shomba my entire life? That was rhetorical because I know a lot of people call her Shomba, but no, apparently it's Chaba. Our whole lives has been a fucking lie. In some other part of the house, Chaba is preparing to take the girl's eyes, when the villagers eventually find Chaba's hidden room as well as Chaba herself. They start attacking her as she's trying to claim the children as her own when one of the villagers slashes the corners of her mouth, giving her that Joker cut. At least we don't have to wonder where she got her scars. One of the villagers finds his daughter Pang, the little girl, and realizes that he is too late, as he sees that Pang no longer can't. The rest of the villagers then tie a rope around Chaba's neck and start hanging her. As she dies, we see that this whole thing has just been a movie, as we see this producer Giab watching a private test screening. She's a bit disturbed at the scene and leaves the movie theater as she goes to the director Tro, wondering why he's not watching his work. He tells her that he already watched it last night and is planning to edit the scene where Chaba is hanged, to which she is taken aback. Back at the movie theater, we see the film continue as Pang and her father are back at their home, where Pang is panicking, saying that Chaba is here. Behind them, a closet door opens and we see Chaba's silhouette inside watching them. We go back to real life where we see a similar silhouette stalking Giab. She sees the silhouette and goes to investigate, finding herself in an empty movie theater when suddenly the film starts playing. She starts asking for Toth, thinking he's behind it, but when she hears some strange noises, she decides to leave, but stops when the scene of Chaba getting hanged comes up. She watches the film burn away when a shadow of Chaba is put in its place. She slowly turns around and we move outside the movie theater as we hear her screaming. We move to our main protagonist Shane as he is sorting out some of his bets when one of his co-workers comes across a box of film reels labeled from the private screening titled Revengeful Spirit. Shane brings this box into another room where he meets up with his friend Yod. Here, the two of them swap out the reels with a completely different film. He asks if they can get in trouble for what they are doing, but Yod just assures him that it's fine and gives him half of his cut. At night, Shane places his bets from earlier but muffles his voice when this girl Som enters the room. Shane tries talking to her but she ignores him. Somebody else in the room greets her happy birthday, but when Shane tries to do it, she doesn't say anything. Things get a bit awkward when Yod walks in, cutting the tension in the room as Shane tells him that it's Som's birthday. Som leaves the locker room, and as she's walking down the hallway, she spots a cardboard cutout of Chaba standing at the far end of the hallway. The lights suddenly go out, but as it does, the cutout also starts moving. She runs back to the locker room as the rest of the lights go out. She starts banging on the door, but when it opens, she accidentally punches Yod in the face, and we see that some of their co-workers are just playing pranks with someone carrying the cutout. Later on, they're celebrating Sam's birthday, where she jokingly says she's shocked that her brother Yod actually remembered it. Yod tries to give Shane the credit, but Sam doesn't even acknowledge it. Sam leaves the celebration early as Yod nudges Shane to follow her. Outside, he tries explaining something about a watch he took from her, but she cuts him off and gets on a taxi. Shane and Yod are back at the cinema communicating through their walkie-talkies, pretending to actually do their jobs, with Yod joking that Sam really hates Shane's guts. Shane, still paranoid, asks if he's sure the guards won't randomly walk in, but Yod just waitress assures him again and says that he needs the money anyway to get Sam's watch back. And this is where we fully see their little side hustle, as Yod pirates the film that him and Shane swapped out earlier. Shane then listens to the soccer match that he placed bets on as he looks at a receipt from a pawn shop for a woman's watch. We are then shown what exactly happened to him and Sam as we get a flashback of a tweaked out Shane digging through Sam's things and stealing her watch. When Sam catches him, she immediately tries to grab it back, accusing him of pawning it off for drugs again. The two struggle over it, and when she refuses to let go, Shane slaps her. I'm sorry, you got a cut from a slap? How gnarly is your coke nail, bruh? Shane wakes up the next fucking day and looks out into the theater, expecting to see Yod, but he's not there. He goes to investigate but only finds Yod's camera on the ground. Tom then arrives asking for Yod, revealing that they discovered he returned the wrong film reels and they fear that the movie will be pirated. Shane doesn't say anything as he picks up Yod's camera and locks himself in the staff room. He rewinds the footage where he sees the camera get knocked over and Yod screaming in fear. He gets interrupted though when his coworker walks in and tells him that Shane won all of his bets, and then asks him to take his winnings and buy Sam's watch back from the pawn shop. Later, Shane goes to Yod's apartment to find him, but he doesn't and only finds a set of footprints. Well, footprint because the other foot only has skid marks. For some reason, Shane decides to touch the dirty ass footprint because why not, and sees that it leads to a nearby closet. I feel like you could have gotten all the information you needed without touching the fucking thing. He walks over and opens it but finds absolutely nothing. As Shane is leaving the building, he's suddenly stopped by a couple of gangsters waiting outside asking where Yod is. Shane says he doesn't know, but the gangster presses him instead for the pirated copy of the movie. Shane tries making excuses, but the other gangster just smashes his headlights while Man Bun over here tells him to find a way to bring him the copy. With that very friendly motivation, Shane breaks into the cinema and just like Yod did before him, he sets up the equipment and starts pirating the film. As he's recording, we see more of the movie itself, where we see that Pang was taken again by the ghost of Chaba. And we see the same footprints that Shane saw in Yod's house also leading to a nearby closet. Shane goes outside for a bit and starts calling Yod, but hears the ringing from inside the theater. While Shane is looking for the phone, the movie behind him shows Pang's father finding Pang again, but this time with the dead bodies of the other villagers, and in the corner of the room, Shane sees Yod's dead body along with his phone. Shane leaves the movie theater, but now he is being stalked by Chaba. We also get a scene that is meant to be scary, but I laughed when I saw it, where Shane adjusts his bag but he grabs Chaba's arm instead, and in the reflection, we see Shane giving Chaba a piggyback ride. I also think though that this may be a reference to Shudder because, fun fact, the director of this movie was also a writer for that one. Shane goes back to his apartment where we see that he tied the fuck out of his closet, but upon hearing some noises in the bathroom, he goes inside finding footprints and a silhouette of Chaba brushing her hair. He opens the curtains, finding it empty except for Chaba's hairbrush filled with her nasty ass hair. Her nasty ass hair. The next day, he goes to work where he sees cops investigating the missing film reels. He goes away trying to leave quietly, but lucky for him, he is stopped by some of his co-workers along with Sam asking for help. We then see Sam and her friend talking, and for some reason, this friend starts making excuses for Shane, telling her that Sam knew Shane was on drugs so he didn't mean to hurt her. He also tells her that one day Shane might be gone, then Sam might end up regretting it. Yeah, Sam, go back to him. One day you will regret leaving your gambling-addicted, tweaked-out, abusive boyfriend. Seriously though, are you even her friend? Anyway, after they finish setting up the movie's poster, Shane notices a line on it that says, based on a true story. He pulls up Yod's video again and scrubs through it frame by frame, seeing Chaba peeking out from behind a chair. He looks out toward the theater and spots the familiar figure of Chaba sitting a few rows down. He goes inside but finds the chair empty and sits down in defeat. He also sees the chair move in front of him, but it was just some little people. Meanwhile, Sam has been watching him this whole time and quietly follows him the moment he leaves the theater. He notices Yod's camera sitting on a desk and ends up discovering that they pirated the movie. Shane grabs the camera quickly though, and Sam confronts him asking why he's doing this and whether Yod is involved. That's when Shane finally tells her the truth. He says Yod is dead and shows her the clip of Yod getting attacked. He explains that he saw Yod's corpse inside the movie itself and that ever since he watched it, he's been seeing Chaba everywhere. As Sam tries to watch the clip more closely, Shane suddenly grabs her arm, panicking at the thought of her seeing the movie. Angry at how he reacts, she pulls away, hands the camera back to him, and storms off. We then see her outside trying to call Yod, staring at the Revengeful Spirits Coming Soon poster, contemplating Shane's words. Back to Shane, he's sitting inside the theater when his friend approaches him, giving him Sam's watch. Shane drops the watch when Chaba shows up as he goes to pick it up. He runs away, but Chaba spawns in front of him, showing him tricks with her jaw. He runs back, entering an elevator, but it suddenly stops working and Chaba teleports inside again, floating above him. He opens the doors, but he just gets jump scared when other workers manage to open it from the outside, where they see Shane spazzing out. Later, we see Sam visiting Shane at his home and explains to their friends that it might be Shane doing drugs again and overdosing, but her friend explains that he stopped using drugs ever since they broke up. The friends then leave as Sam and Shane are left alone together. She then Googles or enjoys searches the Revengeful Spirit movie, where she finds a forum discussing the supposed real-life house of Chaba and the story behind it. Basically, it's the same as the plot of the movie, where Chaba kidnapped children, gouged their eyes out until the villagers finally caught her and killed her. Later, Shane wakes up and thanks Sam for taking care of him. Here, Sam says that she now believes Shane and asks him how the movie ends, fearing he would share the same fate as the protagonist. Shane explains that the protagonist goes to Chaba's house to try and burn her body, but he doesn't make it. Well, thanks for the fucking spoiler, Shane. Sam tells him that in real life, Chaba's body was never actually found. He suggests that it might still be inside the house and that maybe they could get a head start on the movie by going there themselves. And so they travel to Chaba's village, and with the help of some of the locals, they eventually find it. They go inside, finding everything to be dusty and broken. Shane goes and moves a nearby closet, thinking that it would be the same from the movie and Chaba's secret lair is behind it, but he just finds a wall. He looks around when a ceiling fan falls on him, causing him to fall through the floor. He's dazed but gets up, finding himself in the real Chaba's lair. He even finds the rope the villagers used to hang Chaba, as well as a burnt picture of her with some children. Sam then bursts through the door and tries to leave with him, but then a rope falls behind him with another Sam still up top. He realizes the one beside him isn't real and he struggles trying to pull his arm away from the fake Sam. When he does, he gets jump scared by a Chaba Sam fusion creature. When suddenly he snaps back to reality, oh, there goes gravity, with the real Sam holding him and trying to calm him down. Who the fuck are those Sam and Dean looking ass? We cut to them in a hospital with Shane panicking, saying that he might end up like Yod, and then he tries giving Sam her watch back, resigning himself to his fate, but Sam refuses to take it, telling him to not give up. They later speak with the doctor about Shane's injuries, and when the doctor asks what they were even doing at that house, Sam explains that they were investigating Chaba's death. The doctor looks confused and tells him that Chaba is still very much alive. They then go to a mental facility where they see the real Chaba, now old and frail, as we hear the doctor explaining that when the villagers hanged her, the police arrived just in time to take her to the hospital, and with all the villagers thinking that she died, the real story just kinda got forgotten. With that revelation, they are left wondering who Shane has actually been seeing this entire time. That's when Shane notices the film's poster in the distance and it suddenly clicks. He hasn't been seeing the real-life Chaba. He's been seeing the film version of Chaba, aka the actress In-chan, whose name we see on the poster. They head to the film company's office only to find it completely abandoned, so naturally they break in. They explore the facility when Sam finds a list of the film crew and starts calling them one by one, but none of them pick up. Meanwhile, Shane sees a tape of behind-the-scenes footage of In-chan's hanging. He watches it and we see just what happened on the film set. We see the crew finishing the setup of In-chan's harness, preparing to shoot the hanging scene. When they begin filming, they run through multiple takes because the director, To, isn't satisfied with her acting. He starts getting frustrated and even turns his anger towards Giab, the producer we saw earlier, who then passes that pressure right back onto In-chan. After a few more takes, the director then scolds In-chan directly, to which she begs to try one more time, with Giab also piling on her, grabbing her harness, telling her that it's safe, so what is there to be afraid of? They reset and go for one final take. This time the director is finally satisfied. He even leans closer to his monitor, impressed with how real it looks. That's because it is, as the cameraman pans up and sees that the harness snapped and that In-chan is actually getting choked. He tells Giab and the film crew panic as they try to get In-chan down. The tape stops as the final shot sees In-chan dead with her bloodshot eyes staring directly at the camera. Wait, so you're telling me that this is the cut where the actress dies? If it were me, I would have done another take. Oh wait. Meanwhile, Sam finally gives up on calling the crew members and turns around only to see Shane just fucking leaving her. Do you really not see the massive red flags waving all over this idiot? Regardless, she goes out and catches up to Shane, who tells her that if he doesn't make it, she should never go back to that movie theater. He reveals that In-chan's death was real and that anyone who watches the actual footage of her dying will end up dying too. Sam asks him what he's planning to do, but instead of answering, he just hands her watch back. When she presses him again, asking where he's going, he suddenly pushes her, apologizes, and takes off. Just walk away, Sam. You've done it before. Just let this fucker die. Okay, but to be fair to Shane, it did look like he just turned around. Shane arrives at the cinema as the gangsters stare at him. They then corner him, and when Man Bun is about to confront him, a side door opens and people come out, blocking him. He gets distracted when someone's popcorn is knocked over, and Shane takes this moment to slip into the staff room where he finds the Revengeful Spirit film reels and sets them on fire. He comes back out and the exact same scene happens again. The gangsters corner him, the side door opens, the popcorn spills, and he runs back into the staff room and burns the reels again. The second time though, he peeks into the hallway, but when he comes out, everything repeats again. This time though, instead of running, he beats on the lanky gangster and we see him crashing out on the staff room. At some point while he's punching the gangster turns into the cutout we saw earlier. He then looks around and when he looks back, it turns into Ing-chan. What the fuck is happening? He runs away but ends up in a monitoring room where the screen suddenly turned on showing Ing-chan's death scene. He goes out and runs away again, this time ending up in the lobby as we see Som arrive at the cinema. Shane sees Som in a distance and chases after her, but of course, the real Som arrives just as he leaves. The real Som tries chasing after him but gets stopped by a door. Shane is inside the theater calling out for Som while the movie shows Ing-chan's death again, but when the camera pans, she suddenly disappears. Shane looks towards the screen as we see Ing-chan creeping up behind him. He turns around where he gets jumped and choked by Ing-chan while she screams, "Do you wanna see me die?" I mean, to be fair, at some point you were kind of forcing it on him. He throws him aside and he runs again, but as he sprints down the hallway, Ing-chan suddenly teleports right in front of him and starts chasing him with a knife. He manages to burst through the fire exit, but when he turns around, he's no longer in the cinema, but inside the film in Chaba's house. He tries to go back and opens the door, but behind it is just a wall. Tom finally manages to enter the theater and tries to find Shane, but sees that Shane finally made it into the big screen. Shane enters the dining room where he finds all of the dead film crew with their eyes missing from their socket, including director Tro, Giab, and Yod. Shane completely breaks down, curling up in defeat as we see Ing-chan's hands slowly creep behind him. He reaches around his face and, like the rest of her victims, she takes his eyes. In the real world, Som collapses to her knees in front of the screen, crying and calling out his name. Later, we see that the movie Revengeful Spirit is finally released and being shown in theaters. We see the people watching the movie, but during the dinner scene inside the film, we also see Som's body in the background. Our final scene sees Ing-chan dying with her bloodshot eyes and the credits rolling. And a small jump scare to top it off, with that being the end of Coming Soon. For some reason in my mind, this movie was a lot scarier, but then again, anything is scarier when you watch this as a kid. Overall though, I still think this is a decent watch. I remember being shocked at the revelation as a kid, and now, even when I know it's coming, I still think it's great. My only complaint though is with the protagonist, because I really do not give a fuck about Shane. The movie presents this guy as a person trying to redeem himself, but it just wasn't doing it for me. I would have much preferred somebody with more connection to either Chaba or Ing-chan. It could have been like a villager who killed Chaba, then watches the movie and then gets stalked thinking that Chaba is getting her revenge. Then they realize, oh, we didn't kill the bitch that killed our children. Who the hell is after me then? Or even like one of the film crew that maybe wasn't at the day that Ing-chan got killed, but then everyone suddenly starts dying around them and then they realize what happened at the film set. I wouldn't go so far as to say it would have made the movie better, just that I would have much preferred to follow literally anybody else other than Shane. But what do you guys think? Was it good? Was it bad? Tell me your thoughts down in the comment section below, and if you have another movie suggestion, also tell me down in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. I've been Nath and I will see you around.